All right, thank you for tuning in, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Double Down. Just a podcast I wanted to try out. I've been getting more into different sports besides basketball and football, so I wanted to test my knowledge and see how much I can grow from there. So sports that I'll be covering: basketball, so NBA, NFL, MLB, PGA here and there, and then tap into some sports betting. See if my props that I like and suggest go well, and see if they don't. So yeah, that's just leading it off. And then besides this podcast itself, episode 1, every episode from next week on will always have one different a guest on. So I already have a couple lined up, and then if you guys like them, they'll be back. If you don't, I'll blacklist them. No, I'm just kidding, they'll be back still. But I decided we hop right into it. So first, I want to address, if you follow me on TikTok, my first week of projections. I started with week 4 last week, and if you didn't get a chance to see, I'll read out to you who I had. I had Miami beating Cincy. I had Minnesota beating the Saints. I had Cleveland. I'm just gonna list the winners: Cleveland, Seattle, Indy, New York, the Giants, Philly, Pittsburgh, the Bills, Chargers, Cardinals, Green Bay, Denver, Kansas City, and the Rams. So I can go through each individually. Miami lost to Cincy, obviously. Not expecting that, to be honest. I'm a big fan of Joe Burrow. I think he's a great guy. Off the field, I think he had a really rough start to the season this year. But I'm happy that he won. I thought Tua would come in and just smash, but I trusted the fact that they cleared him. But I'm going to be honest, it did not look like he was cleared to play. It looked really iffy out there. And I mean, now knowing that the person who cleared him got fired, who knows what happened behind the scenes. So we got a dub with the Vikings versus Saints. That was a sweat that I did not think would have to go that far. Yeah, it should not have been that close, especially with Kamara out, without Jameis Winston. The Vikings look terrible. Cleveland against the Giants. Oh, wait. Cleveland did not play the Giants, did they? Cleveland played the Falcons. Yeah. And the Falcons won, so that's an L. I thought Chubb would go crazy, honestly. He's been playing out of his mind. Nothing else to say there. Washington lost to Dallas. Cooper Rush is going crazy. Very impressed. We'll see how much better they get with Dak when he comes back, but Cooper Rush is definitely holding his ground. I liked Seattle for the upset over Detroit. I really like that only because, Seattle beat the Broncos. I didn't like that part, but I knew that they could beat a pretty banged up Detroit Lions team. Indy, very disappointed in the loss. If you guys know me, Indy's my second favorite, right after Denver. If you can put 2 and 2 together, I'm a big Peyton Manning fan. But they look terrible. They don't look good. I need them to start targeting Pittman more, get him more involved. And I know my 2 teams are playing each other tonight. We're going to see who I think wins later, but I just need both teams to start playing better. So after that, we have the Giants beating the Bears, dub. Philly beating Jacksonville, dub. Pittsburgh and the Jets. Really? How do you lose to the Jets? I don't know what to say about that. We have a topic about that coming later, but Buffalo beating Baltimore. I didn't see that happening at halftime, but we'll take it. I love Josh Allen. Diggs is amazing. Chargers in Houston, dub. Cardinals in Carolina, surprising dub. I actually thought there was a chance Carolina beats them, but guess not. Green Bay and New England, way too close. We gotta get, okay, speaking of Green Bay, and then later we're gonna get to Tampa Bay, we need to get Aaron Rodgers some help. And we finally saw it this week with Tampa Bay and Tom Brady, but it's hard to watch them. Denver with a massive, fat L against the Raiders. I don't know how you give a team their first win, but whatever, we're going to let that go. KC over to Tampa Bay, that was a dub. And then, the Rams losing to San Francisco, it looked like the Rams hadn't practiced tackling people. Like, they came into the game one of the best at tackling opponents, and then I don't know if you guys saw Jalen Ramsey. No, he's a great player. No disrespect to Jalen Ramsey, but this dude literally just fell in front of Debo. I don't know what that was, but we're gonna let it go. I'm not a Rams fan, so I don't really care. So those are my picks. We're gonna go into the new ones for this week, but I will also address my locks from last week. I had 3 locks that I plan to give every week, at least 3. I went 1 for 2. I want to say I should have went 2 for 1. Not 1 for 2. Sorry, I went 1 for 3. I should have went 2 for 3. I had the plus 9 point minus, was it plus? I think plus 9.5 teaser for the Dolphins, and if Tua is healthy, 100% they either win the game or only lose by a touchdown. So I'm salty about that one, but I'm not gonna let it lie. The records, I am 1 win, 2 losses. The other loss came with the Rams losing. I didn't see that coming. I don't see how Matthew Stafford is playing so bad right now. He definitely got to step it up. I have him on one of my fantasy teams. I'm gonna need it, but yeah. So I guess going into week 5, starting with a very, very tough game because the Broncos and Colts are playing each other in a couple hours. I have a couple hours to pump this video out, test out if it works. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Broncos. I'm hoping Russell Wilson plays the same way he played last game. I think overall just no more fumbling. I love Melvin Gordon, but dude gotta secure the ball. We got Latavius Murray. Hopefully he helps so he can come in and handle it with them. But I'm hoping it's a close game. I'm hoping Pittman gets the ball a little bit more, and we see a good, at least something good on Thursday Night Football, because that's what everybody is hoping for, right? And so we're starting off with Sunday. I have the Bills over the Steelers. It's pretty light. Steelers couldn't beat the Jets. They're not beating the Bills. Packers beating the Giants. I have Detroit beating New England. Miami beating the Jets. I have Tampa Bay beating Atlanta. I have Seattle beating the Saints. I'm going to go with Jacksonville over Houston. Houston's a team that, I mean, week in, week out, I can just always bet against them this year. So it's kind of like the Lions last year. You know, you just fade them all the time. But that being said, they did not lose to the Colts, so they ended up tying them. I don't know how that happened. We're going to go with the Titans over Washington. After beating the Colts, I feel like they're probably going to go on a run, and Carson Wentz looks like he's back in last year's form. Not as a diss, but he'll be back sometime, I hope. And then the Vikings beat the Bears, obviously. Well, actually, their defense got to step it up. You're giving up way too much points to a team with too many hurt players. So if their defense steps up, it should be easy. But I still think the Vikings win either way. The Chargers, I think, beat the Browns. The Niners beat the Panthers. And we have the Cowboy-Rams game. I want to take the Rams. I think I'm going to take the Rams only because Dallas still has Cooper Rush. Even though he's going crazy, at some point he's got to have a bad game. So hopefully Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp bounce back, because if they don't, I'll be pretty sad for all LA fans. I think the Eagles beat the Cardinals. I know there's a stat that came out that Jalen Hurts only plays very well against mediocre bottom tier quarterbacks, but I don't think they are playing bad in any sense right now this season to go against them. So they beat the Cardinals. And I think the best game of the week is Sunday Night Football, prime time, Bengals versus Baltimore. My gut tells me Baltimore wins, but I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm going to go Joe Burrow. We're going to go Cincy with this one. That one is iffy. I could see myself losing that one, but I'm going to go with it because I did go against Joe Burrow last week and it hurt me. So we will see. Monday Night Football, Chiefs beat the Raiders. The Raiders not making the playoffs. They are terrible. Kind of leads me into my next point. Can the Raiders have any chance of making the playoffs? Simple answer for me is no. They have no chance. I don't think Derek Carr can lead them far enough after an 0-3 start. I know they got their one win against Denver. Shouldn't have happened, let's be honest. That fumble 6 really hurt, but we're going to let it go, okay? It's in the past. Just beat the Colts tonight, that's fine. But, yeah, I think if they were 0-4, there's nowhere they're making it. At 0-3, the chances are already very slim, but I still don't think they're good enough to win that much, especially going up against the Chiefs this week, who just came off beating Tampa Bay. Yeah, I'm just going to say the Raiders aren't in the playoffs. That's what it is. I wanted to compare Pickett versus Trubisky. I thought Mitchell Trubisky played really well last year as a backup behind Josh Allen when he came in. And I like him. I think he's a solid quarterback, but I think it's Pickett's time. The fact that they just subbed him out and he instantly, he threw that deep ball, which I don't think was his fault completely. I think he has a bright future ahead of him. And I know I have a cousin who loves the Steelers, and I think we're both on the same page when we think Pickett's the move here. Yeah, and then also, before I get into my Week 5 locks and upsets of the week that I already mentioned, basically, I wanted to tap into whether or not Justin Fields should be a starting quarterback in the league. I haven't heard anybody on their podcast or on any social media really talk about the fact that Justin Fields is playing as bad as he is. For a starting quarterback, I feel like you have to be putting up much, much better numbers than that. He's struggling yardage-wise, and I don't think the Bears are, they have wins, but I don't think he's that good, if that makes any sense. Their 2 wins come against the Niners without Jimmy G, right? I think if you're playing the Niners with, who was it? They had Trey Lance and Elijah Mitchell. I think Jimmy G is much better than Trey Lance. I'm going to say it. I think he should be the quarterback instead of Trey Lance. Trey Lance literally only runs the ball. But looking past that, they beat the Texans. Those are 2 pretty weak teams. So I don't know if I would count those as their record being 2-2, but I think just maybe that the Bears should consider drafting a quarterback or trading for a quarterback, because I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's that guy that you want to, be your starting quarterback for the next few years. But I mentioned my picks earlier, and I'm going to go over my 4 locks that I have, and then the upsets that I did pick. So the locks I think for sure to take, in terms of money line, I guess, would be the Bills over Pittsburgh, the Vikings over Chicago, Green Bay over the Giants, and then Tampa Bay against the Falcons. I don't think any of those lose. If one were to lose, I'd say it would be Green Bay, but I doubt it. The other 3, all 4 of those are locks in my opinion. And then the upsets I have are Seattle against the Saints. Seattle just came off a huge performance against the Detroit Lions. And speaking of the Lions, I have them as my second upset. So the Lions beating the Patriots. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown, dude, is crazy. Jared Goff's playing very, very well. He's playing like a solid quarterback. And we all saw TJ go crazy last week. It hurt me in fantasy a ton, but it was a good performance. So if they can put up anywhere near the amount of points they put up last week, they'll win for sure. So now, kind of moving into fantasy football, kind of like I mentioned, I want to talk about some pickups that, if they aren't already picked up in your league after this week, to aim for, and then sleepers to start this week. So I think Rashad Penny showed us a little bit of what he could do last week. I know it was a very heavily scoring game. It was a shootout, and not all of his weeks are going to be like that, but putting up numbers similar to anywhere near half of what he had last week, if you could do that consistently, I'd be pretty good for a bench running back. If you went with the 0 running back draft strategy, maybe you could pick him up. And yeah, I think Devontae Parker also showed sparks. If Mac Jones plays a little bit better, targets him a little bit more. He was someone I was high on before draft season. But within the leagues I'm in, within the leagues that I am in, he was way too down, way too low on the list. Like, there was no reason I should be drafting him, or picking him up within week 1. So I think those two, Rashad Penny, Devontae Parker, are the ones to aim for this week. And I do see them being inconsistent, but I see them having some good weeks ahead. And sleepers for this week. Don't hate me, but I want to say Melvin Gordon goes crazy. That could be the Broncos bias in me, but the dude fumbled 4 times already. Last week, it costed us the game, right? If Denver gives him the chance to play, which obviously they don't really have a choice. I don't think Boone is very good at all. Like, you saw him drop that one pass last week. It's going to have to be Gordon and Murray. So if they split touches the same way that Javonte Williams splits it with Melvin Gordon on a normal basis, I think Melvin Gordon will do well. I think obviously this week he had to work on his ball security, but he'll be there. And then my second sleeper to start this week would be Romeo Doubs. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But dude's crazy. In Green Bay, they don't have many wide receivers that are constantly targeted. With that being said, him coming in and playing very well 2 weeks in a row makes me think Aaron Rodgers will trust him at some point, and why not trust him against an easy opponent this week? So yeah, Melvin Gordon and Romeo Doubs. So I will also have a rapid fire player versus player comparison that I saw on TikTok, and when I do it, obviously I will tag them because I think it's a great a great segment. But I'll do that next week when I have guests on, just to see their opinion and then compare it to mine, see who we think is better, and who we think, doesn't compare up to the other person. So as far as sports books go, and the NFL, the picks of the week for me, I mentioned Tampa Bay moneyline and Bills moneyline. Those are the two good ones. And then I'm not sure if anybody that is watching is on PrizePicks, the Joe Burrow over 270.5 passing yards. That'll be easy. It's gonna be a heavily passing, it's gonna be a pass heavy game. With Baltimore scoring at the pace that they usually do, I doubt Mixon's gonna get that involved with the rush game unless it's very early on. I think Burrow's gonna have to keep launching the ball, and I think Jamar Chase is gonna have to get involved as well. And after that, I have Cooper Kupp over the 0.5 reception TD. I think the dude's a tank. He is pretty much, in my opinion, guaranteed a TD every week because I think Allen Robinson has one, and the only other option is Tyler Higbee. So go with Cooper Kupp. If I had to tell you one, it's that one for the PrizePick locks. And yeah, so I want to shift gears now into different leagues. So as of yesterday, the MLB season is over, and I can pull up a picture of the standings right now. But I guess first off, we'll talk about how Aaron Judge is playing it off so well that he doesn't want to do anything again to get that ball. If I'm Aaron Judge and I just hit my 60-second home run in the season, I'm getting that ball by any means, right? And the guy who caught the ball knows. He knows that he has all the power in the world right now. I'd give it to him. I would give him whatever he wants for that ball, because that's memorabilia that Aaron Judge probably would like to have, like sitting around his house. It's memories. But yeah, so let's see. I'm going to give you guys my predictions for what is going to happen this MLB postseason. And I already know there's going to be some bias here and there just because I like certain teams, but it is my postseason prediction. You guys can have your own. This is just to come back and compare later on. So, first off, Tampa Bay versus Cleveland. I think Cleveland's a solid team, so I think Cleveland's going to win, obviously. I think the Mariners are solid, but I think Toronto beats them. Yeah, we're going to Toronto. So no upsets quite yet. I think the first upset will come later on. So I don't see Philly beating St. Louis or beating the Cardinals. So we're going with Cardinals there, and then the Mets over the Padres. Even though the Padres, the Juan Soto acquisition a month ago, I think they look good, but decent. And then from there, I think the Yankees move on. I have that. Okay, we'll do it there. We'll have the Blue Jays beating the Astros. So that's our first upset. So Yankees are going to play the Blue Jays after for the ALCS. And then I think the Braves beat the Cardinals. Braves are just too damn good right now. And the Dodgers beat the Mets, as much as I want the Mets to go on. And then I think the Yankees beat the Blue Jays to advance to the World Series. And I know a lot of people are doubting this because of how heavily they struggled towards the end of the season. But with all the hype around Judge right now, I think they're going to start playing really well. And the hardest one for me to choose was Atlanta versus the Dodgers. I'm from LA, so I want to say the Dodgers. Yeah, we're going to go with Dodgers. Oh, that hurts. Yeah, so it's going to be a Dodgers-Yankees World Series. And whatever, Dodgers win. That's my predictions. We will see where that goes, how many I get right, how many I get wrong. But yeah, I think it'll be somewhat close. Hopefully, I told you guys the bias would come in, and it definitely did. So we'll see how everything pans out and stuff like that. And then I wanted to tap into the NBA a little bit. I was a little bit distanced from the NBA last season. I didn't watch it too much. I watched it a lot growing up. I grew up on basketball, so I'm dabbing into it a little bit more. But the few topics that I did have, I thought Tyler Herro's new contract was insane. I am a Miami Heat fan. I have been a Miami Heat fan since Dwayne Wade was there. So I'm happy about the Herro contract, but I'm going to tie this into another topic. I do not want him acting like Jordan Poole supposedly acted. So I guess I'm going to get this out of the way. I'll tell you guys what teams I like for every sport, just so when the biases do occur, I'm going to be very transparent with it. For football, Denver and the Colts. For the MLB, obviously right now my favorite team is the Angels, but it's more of a player based with Shohei Ohtani, so I'm not even going to be shy with it. If he leaves or gets traded, signs with another team, I'm going where Shohei goes. So with that being said, the other team that I do like is the Mets and the Dodgers, just as like a general fan. And then I think I mentioned the Heat are my favorite basketball team, and I like certain players on the Warriors. So if I did have to choose a second team, it'd probably be the Warriors. And then let's see. PGA will tap into a little bit later. Those are just individual people. But yeah, as far as NCAA goes and, college football, it's all Michigan for me. It's either Michigan or UCLA. So the reason I say that is because Jordan Poole went to Michigan, and I had been a big Jordan Poole fan, and he's on the Warriors. So I was very happy when he had a lot of success on the Warriors. And just in general, if he had success, right? Because we all know what he did in March Madness. That was a crazy shot back then. I don't remember what year it was, but we appreciated him for it, right? He's supposedly getting a little overconfident hearing about Tyler Herro's contract, hearing about other contracts. I hope he stays humble. I really root for individuals in the league who stay humble and don't let the fame or money get to them. And we know, I don't want to say, but we know who it's happened to. So I'm just hoping it doesn't happen to him. I think Tyler Herro's contract looks amazing. Looks like we're going to have him for a while. And I hope we do. I hope at some point he gets that starting gig that he wants. And I know he just had a scary injury yesterday, but I hope he's okay. And I think Miami's going to do pretty well this season. As far as doing well this season, I wanted to talk about the Suns losing to a non-NBA team. I want to say 100% that they were trying. Like, how do you lose? Like, I don't want to be mean. Like, they freaking suck. That's embarrassing as heck. But I'm not gonna judge them anymore because I know some Suns fans, but just know to you guys that is so embarrassing. If the Heat lost to a non-NBA team, I might not. No, I'm just kidding. I'd still be a fan. But that's tragic, Yeah, I think a couple other points that I wanted to point out besides how embarrassing that was if I'm OKC, I'm losing every game this year for that number 1 draft pick. If Victor and Chet are on the same team with Josh Giddey and Shea, oh my god, that's a contender. That's a good team right there. But yeah, I was able to talk with my cousins a little bit. So my brother, who I will have on the podcast, is a very, very good. He's a loyal fan. And when I say the name, you guys will know why. He's a very loyal fan to Russell Westbrook. No matter what shade is thrown at him, what happens to him, dude airballs a free throw. It's like, oh, it's okay. Like, that shot. Like, everybody's clowning him, but he's a big fan of Russ. And the thing is, I think Russ will have a good year as well. So he's been hyping it up. I think Russ is gonna have a comeback, like a breakout year. Obviously, in my opinion, I think Russ is getting a lot of unnecessary hate because he's not playing up to the standard that he set for himself. But I think this year he will get back to it. Obviously, because you want to secure another contract late in the future, especially late in your career. So I think he's gonna do well. Obviously, Pat Bev is now in the Lakers. And I'm not too fond of Lakers even being from LA just because LeBron is not my favorite player. I'm just going to come out and say that. Like, I don't think the drama here and there, like, it's a little much. But Lakers will do well this year. And then, to close it, I wanted to do which team I thought was going to surprise everyone this year in the NBA, MLB postseason, and then the NFL. So, I'll start with the NBA because we were just talking about it. I'm not going to say that Heat, obviously, because that's a little bit biased, but I think if any team were to surprise everyone and come completely not insane, but do better than expected, right? I think, I feel like I'm going to get clowned for this, but I think the Detroit Pistons are going to do very well this year. I think Sadiq Bey, he was just a little inconsistent last year, but I think overall he's a really good player. Cade Cunningham showed what he had towards the end of the season. Obviously, they have Jaden Ivey now, and Marvin Bagley. They just have a lot of good pieces that fit, and with Isaiah Stewart at the 5, like they're very young. So over time, I feel like they're going to become a very good team. I think they will do better and surpass expectations this year. In the MLB, I think the Blue Jays will surprise everyone by getting to the second round and beating the Astros, but losing to the Yankees, of course. I think that will be the biggest surprise. And then for the NFL, the Raiders. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously not the Raiders. I think so far, up to week 5, the biggest surprise that we're going to see will probably come from, and it's hard to say because I know it's already happened, but obviously the Jags. Like, this is a team, I don't know if, maybe I'm out of the loop, but I don't think many people saw Trevor Lawrence doing that well this year. Besides the last week 4's game, he's been playing pretty well, I'd say. And, I mean, their record kind of speaks for it. They're 2-2, a team that I did not think would go 2-2 off the rip, maybe like 1-3, 0-4. But, I think they'll do pretty well this year. And I don't know if they'll hit 500, maybe one game under, but they'll be close, I want to say. But, yeah, that kind of wraps everything up. I will post segments here and there on my TikTok. Make sure to follow that. It is lowercase everything, double X down. And then I'll post clips and a little bit more of my predictions and updates regarding how I did, and some other props that I like here and there after being able to check some out after. But yeah, so check that out. Check out my Instagram and TikTok for my food page, Eating W3J. If you like food, like me, it's a great place to be. And I will obviously get out a video out earlier next time with a special guest next week. And yeah, see you guys then. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to like the video up. Thank you.